Okay, so today's video is going to be on the shorter side, especially compared to that last one, but let's not talk about that. And I'm just going to go over some of the terrain changes that happened in the latest patch. I'm mostly going to be focusing on areas that were already in the game, because I don't really have much to say about the Medulla area. Like, it looks nice, it's fine, but it doesn't really have anything of note in it right now other than, I guess, Tecton's Bridge. And since it is new, let's start with Tecton's Bridge first. The bridge looks all right. I don't have any major complaints about it. I'm not a big fan of the statues, but it's not a problem or anything. It is mildly annoying that we're going to have to fix this stupid thing again at some point, but at least that'll be long off in the future, probably. And then moving on to a bunch of like tiny weird things. All the grass around Galkor is vanished, except for the grass on the road. That's the strange part. And not just the grass. There's like bushes and tiny pebbles and stuff on the ground as well. All of that's gone. It's very strange, and it makes the road texture stand out a lot more to the rest of the terrain. It does not look very good. But I'm guessing that's just a bug with this. This is the patch of terrain bugs, I'm going to guess. There's also new trees north of Fabrinum, up on the mountain, like the ones up in the northern area of the map in the snowy forest. Those look good, but they don't have the LODs yet, so if you're far away from them, you can't see them, which I guess they probably just haven't added them yet, but it is weird since every other tree in the game you can see from, miles away. Trees are so much better to look at in this game than MO1, where the things just pop into view. Yeah, like, it's so much better now. Another tiny thing is they fixed the outside of the Minnow dungeon a bit. Part of the exterior was jutting out and kind of crooked. They've since fixed that, though. It also is missing LODs now. I'm not sure if it had them before, I don't remember. But right now, if you're too far away from it, it leaves a giant hole in the terrain, kind of like caves in MO1 do. And next, Tindrum. Tindrum's has a bit more done to it, in the sense that it had a bunch of buildings in it last patch, actually for a few patches now. They were working on what looked like the palace and the Colossi. There were some other buildings in like the market district area, and there was an arena in there, though that I'm not sure if that's the one they're going to end up using, but that's all gone now. Everything's been removed. Probably because they noticed people can actually like stand up on the hill and look and see into it, or I know some people like to glitch into the city and they don't want people looking at stuff that's not done, so that's probably why they removed it, if I had to guess. And I'm not sure if it's a mistake that happened when they removed the buildings, but all the trees outside Tindrum are also missing now. And not just the trees, there's also a farm to the south that had a bunch of crops and, well, I say a bunch, it's a fairly small farm. But it had some crops, it had some, like, fruit trees. That's all gone now, too. The texture for the ground is still there and whatnot, but everything there is missing. It looks very wrong right now. And again, I'm not sure if that's because they just removed all that by mistake, or if it's because they're going to be reworking the area or something. I mean, that area in MO1 is supposed to have like a giant Jimbura orchard and the vineyard and whatnot, so maybe they're going to be fixing it up to work like that, but I don't know. I was a little worried, though, when I saw all the missing trees, because it goes to the east quite a bit, and the wood line's been affected. It doesn't blend as well into the forest as it used to. It's like a very just harsh line now where the trees start. For a few minutes, I was worried they removed one of the trees I like. There's a tree I like to call Big Tree because it's, well, big. And it's surrounded by a little pond. It kind of stands out because it's by itself on its own little island. And I just like the look of it a lot. But thankfully, Big Tree is safe for the moment. And back east around Mage Tower and the cave camp area, there's been quite a few updates there as well. Most of it's just a bunch of rocks have been added and whatnot, but there's now a small tunnel that leads towards the tower. It's an optional path, you don't have to go that way. But in the tunnel there is a campsite. It's also very oversized. I don't know if this was another error, like if whoever just placed it there forgot to resize it, or if it's intentional. It would be weird to see giants in Nave. Moving on, they've also changed the northern road again. They've put a lot of rocks around the area, and I'm pretty sure there's more trees there now too. The rocks might actually prevent me from being able to climb the mountain like I used to, so that might suck a little. But the collision in the area is really broken right now, and it looks like they've at least tried to put up invisible walls to keep people from getting into the area, so I won't show it off, but it has been worked on quite a bit. And I think my favorite thing from this patch has been the flooding in the Fabrinum area. The entire area south of it. The entire area south of the town's just covered in water now. I mean, it clearly happened because they just put the ocean into the game and didn't bother cutting like a hole in the middle of it so that the ocean wouldn't stick through. Because it also is flooded in a lot of other areas it shouldn't be. Like, the jungle's flooded, part of the Conifer Forest is flooded. Just a whole lot of water where it really shouldn't be. I do kind of like how it looks right now, though. It looks a little more like it did in MO1. Now, the lake is more to scale, I guess I'd say. And the river's also a lot wider, which would be cool if they kept it. Because then you could put in a bridge more like the original Bandit Bridge that we have down by Kranesh. Because I'm not a very big fan of the tiny little wooden one we have right now. And if they did keep it this way, it would be easier to get the river down to Sausage Lake, because right now the water level's way too low to get there with the terrain that we currently have. But again, I'm pretty sure this is unintentional, and when it's removed I'll be happy, because we have had a small casualty. If you head south of the Bandit Bridge, you will come across two small red trees like the ones in the Colored Forest, except they are on the edge of the Conifer Forest, and they also have a small little rose bed around them. It's another one of those trees that I like to use as a landmark because it stands out from everything around it, and I would be very sad to lose it. Okay, and lastly, as I was running to a small lake on the southeast corner of Conifer Forest to get a bit of footage, I ended up running into Bullhead Tunnel. I didn't actually know it had been added. I'd run past it before without realizing it was there, and it ended up being more or less where several people thought it would be. I've seen them mention that specific spot several times in the past. I personally thought they were going to put a waterfall there, and that little path leading up to it was actually like a riverbed that wasn't finished. But hey, I ended up being wrong. I will say the outside of the tunnel is really janky right now. The head's crooked and it just looks really rough. And for the inside, it's not done yet. The entrance particularly, there's still ground that's kind of bugged. But I don't think it looks like something that Ogmir would build. Just looks like a cave. I'm a little disappointed by it, I have to say. And once again, mounts are probably going to have a hard time navigating it. You'll have to dismount probably with how it is right now. There is now, in the middle of the cave, a turn that goes left. Unfortunately, there's an invisible wall there to prevent you from going to the Valley of Faces and the Mage Tower. But that turn could potentially go to Cave Camp. I'm very curious to see what's done with that. It could just be a gate to an Ogmir city or something over there that we'll never see, but it would be cool if it went over to Cave Camp. So yeah, that's all I had for you guys today. I know most of what I showed off was weird, broken things, but it's alpha, so I figured there's no harm showing things that are going to end up being fixed. Think of it as a little time capsule. But anyway, the next patch will be adding all sorts of fun stuff like animals, resource collection, extraction. We'll be getting banks. Oh, and we'll even get those disgusting little fake doors with pointy ears. Remember, kids, if it has pointy ears, kill it on sight. Say no to elves, and thanks for watching.
I'll make the trip east then.